How to teach yourself anything like a genius you think you're learning every time you watch another video, skim another article, or save another post you'll never reopen. But consuming content online is not learning. If it were, you'd already be the sharpest version of yourself because you've taken in more information this year than most people did in an entire lifetime, a generation ago. So why are you still stuck exactly where you were last year? Some people keep getting sharper every single year. Others peak at 25 and stay there for life. That gap was never about talent. It's about method. And the biggest difference comes down to this. The people who actually build real skill go deep on one thing for months, while everyone else is sampling 10 things and mastering none. That's habit 1. And it's where most people fail without ever realizing it. 1. Depth over breadth. Think about the last time you tried to get into something new, a language, a skill, an instrument. How long did it actually last before you moved on to the next thing? 2 weeks, maybe 3. Just long enough to feel that initial spark, right before it starts feeling like work. And that's usually where you quit, not because you're not capable of it, but because the moment it stops being fun, walking away is easier than staying. Here's the part you need to understand. Your brain doesn't get better from trying 5 different things. It gets better from repeating the same thing until it's second nature. Every time you switch to something new, you're back at 0. The people who actually get good at something didn't stumble on some secret. They picked one thing and kept showing up, even on the days it felt boring. That's it. That's the whole difference. So pick one thing. Not 5 things you're kind of interested in, and stay with it long after the excitement wears off. But going deep on one thing means nothing if you're learning it the wrong way. 2. Learn by doing, not by watching. Here's a quick question. How much of what you watched last month can you actually remember right now? If the honest answer is not much, it's not because you're forgetful. It's because watching was never learning in the first place. It just felt like it. Because you were staring at a screen instead of scrolling one. Your brain doesn't hang on to things just because they passed in front of your eyes. It hangs on to things you had to actually work for, stuff you took notes on, explained in your own words, argued with, or actually used somewhere. Skip that work and none of it sticks. So change the way you take in information. Stop watching a lesson and closing the tab. Explain it back to yourself immediately, in your own words, like you're teaching it to someone who's a total beginner. If you can't do it, then you didn't learn it. And the moment you learn something real, use it. That same day, if you can. Knowledge that never becomes part of your actual life will disappear within a week. Using it is the only thing that actually locks it in. But even that isn't enough if the source you're learning from is broken to begin with. 3. Read like it's non-negotiable. Most of what you consume was made to hold your attention for the next 30 seconds, not to make you smarter over the next 30 years. It's the entire business model of most of the content you scroll through. Books are different. A good book is someone's decades of failure, obsession, and hard-earned understanding, compressed into a few hundred pages you can get through in a couple of weeks. It is, without exaggeration, the cheapest shortcut available to you, and yet so many people don't take it. You don't need to read for 2 hours a day. 10, 15 pages every day. And you build something most people never do these days, the ability to sit with one idea for more than a few minutes without reaching for your phone. That skill alone, the ability to sit with one train of thought, is becoming rare enough to be a genuine advantage. The habit matters more than the pace. Slow and daily beats fast and occasional, every time. And reading alone can't save you if your attention is already too fractured to absorb it. 4. Protect your attention. Your attention span isn't just a personality quirk. It's the actual tool you learn with. And right now, you're letting it get wrecked. Every notification, every scroll, every let me just check is teaching your brain to expect a new stimulus every few seconds. And a brain that's used to constant novelty starts finding real learning, which is slow, repetitive, and occasionally boring, unbearable. You're not lazy. It's just that you're mismatched. You've built a brain for scrolling, and you're asking it to sit still and think. This is why you can scroll away for hours, but even 1 hour spent reading a book feels like torture. So protecting your attention span isn't some minor lifestyle tweak. It's the thing every other habit on this list actually depends on. You have to learn to turn off what you don't need. Put the phone in another room while you work. Let yourself be bored sometimes instead of immediately reaching for a new stimulus. But even a sharp mind pointed at the wrong teachers will learn the wrong lessons. 5. Learn from the builders, Not the talkers who you're learning from matters just as much as what you're learning. Plenty of people are great at explaining things. Way fewer have actually built something real and had to live with the consequences of being wrong. Theory without results is just an opinion with better production value. So go find the people who've actually done the thing you're trying to do. Read their biographies. Sit through the long, messy, unscripted interviews instead of the polished 5-minute highlight reels. Pay closer attention to what they say about the times they got it wrong than the times they got it right, because that's where the real information is hiding. Talking about your wins is easy once you already know how the story ends. Being honest about what it actually cost you to get there is rare. This doesn't mean you ignore every teacher who hasn't built an empire from scratch. It means you start asking a different question before you take advice. Has this person actually tested it against reality, or do they just know how to deliver information confidently? And none of this compounds unless you're doing one more thing almost everyone skips. 6. Sit in silence, then write. You're not going to have your best ideas while you're still taking information in. Nobody has a real breakthrough mid-scroll, mid-video, mid-podcast. That happens later, in the quiet, when your brain finally gets a second to connect what you just learned to everything else you already know. Most people never let that quiet moment take place. The moment there's any free time, when you're standing in line, walking to your car, lying in bed, the phone comes out instantly. And every time you do that, you're killing the exact thing your brain needs to actually process what you just took in. So, make room for it on purpose. Take a walk with no headphones. Sit for 10 minutes and do nothing but think. And when an idea actually clicks, write it down. Turning a half-formed thought into a full sentence forces your brain to sort it out, test it, and actually understand it, instead of just assuming you already do. That's the step almost everyone skips. And it's the difference between information you consumed and understanding you actually own. Here's the truth this entire video has been building toward. Nobody who taught themselves something extraordinary did it by simply consuming more information. They did it with a method that includes narrow focus, active learning, daily reading, protected attention, better teachers, and real reflection. None of it is complicated. You don't need to install all 6 habits today. You need to pick one, probably the one that made you the most uncomfortable while you were watching this. But don't stop there. Add the next one in a week, then the next, until all these habits aren't a list you're working through anymore. They're just who you are.